All right, everybody, I'm Scott Allen Miller. This is Sheep Guarding Llama. It is Tuesday, the 8th of September, 2020. This is Sheep Guarding Llama. Welcome to the Daily Show. Real quick, last night after I did the show wrap up for yesterday, Luciana and Liesel and I watched Trolls 2 together on Hulu, and it was rapidly apparent why it's free on Hulu. It was garbage. Complete and utter garbage. Totally terrible. Everything about the show was bad. The story was bad. The acting had nowhere to go. But most importantly for the kids, the music was terrible. And so it took all the fun out of the show because at least the original was full of good music. Right, Trolls 1 was fun. Like you'd be like singing along and bopping to it, and this one's all about the war between the music, and the music that they play for every one of the genres is bad, like quite bad. Like I want to turn this off bad. Why? Because they had like the rock Trolls, and their rock music was terrible. They did play "Rock Me Like a Hurricane" for a split second, and that was like, oh, this got promise right at the beginning, and then never, not one acceptable rock tune the rest of the song. And the pop selection was a train wreck. The country, they didn't even try to do any actual hits. It was the whole thing just awful. The kids were both like, that was terrible by the time we were done. So Trolls 2, avoid it. Just don't ruin the memory of Trolls 1, which honestly is a pretty weak movie, but at least it's okay. And I like all the people, right? Justin Timberlake and Sam Rockwell and James Corbin from Doctor Who, and Anna Kendrick. She's decent. Like, I like almost all the people that I knew. Just whoever decided, it was phoned in, right? That's the best way to put it. This was a phoned in, low budget, nobody cared, no one put in any effort movie. Just garbage. Anyway, so today, first day back to work because, yesterday was Labor Day and pretty much an actual holiday, didn't have to do too much. Worked during the day, nothing really to report. We got some salespeople that this is their first day of like really doing stuff. And managed this evening to put in quite a bit of time working on episode 5 of Take Flight. It's not quite done, but by the end of the night, I am down to just voiceovers left and a few really careful tweaks. But the actual episode has been made. All of the footage is in place. All the titles and the labels and all that stuff is done. So maybe tomorrow, but definitely by the end of the week, we're going to have episode 5 out, which is still on Crete. And there's still one more episode of Crete. We were on Crete for a long time. And so that was a lot of the day. I pretty much took all of my free time and did that. I've been, over the last couple of days, watching James Bond this evening before going to bed. Finished watching Skyfall, which is only the second time I've ever seen Skyfall. It's surprising how little I've seen the new ones, considering they've been out for most of 2 decades. Right? To me, they're still brand new. And but Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, I'm not actually sure I've seen more than twice now, and I know Skyfall I've not seen until tonight 2 full times. And Dominica joined me for the end of it, and then she realized she hadn't seen Spectre yet, which is already 5 years old, and she thought that Daniel Craig was already done making the movies, but they just released a trailer sometime this week for the 5th of his James Bond movies, which is due sometime before the end of the year. So I bet we're probably going to watch Spectre tomorrow, because now that I know she hasn't seen it, she needs to see it. I did watch it recently myself, so I've seen it, but watching the series one right after another is so much more rewarding than watching them individually. It's been really enjoyable to watch them that way. Luciana did more work on her miniature painting today. That's been a big thing for her, which it took her a while to get into it. But now that she's seeing the results, I think she's really enjoying it, and doing that kit that she had from Christmas. And today was another massive packing day around the house. It's so many boxes have been gone through. My office looks completely different. The garage looks completely different. Our van is full of stuff to donate. We have our friend Jane is coming over, I guess, on the weekend to pick up boxes because she's like moving or something. And so we've been collecting boxes quickly, trying to get boxes ready for her. Just stacks and stacks of boxes that she'll be able to take, as both Paul and Dominica are each going through things and producing boxes. And because even things we're keeping, we're moving into plastic instead of cardboard, so that it's much safer to ship. But we're trying to eliminate almost all of it as we go. And really, I need to sit around and do some videos of like things I'm giving up or throwing out or whatever, so that I at least have some kind of memory of them or some way to look back. I'll feel better. I'll probably never watch the videos, right? Much like these daily updates. When am I going to go back and watch a daily update? I have no idea. I've said, but I said that about my written Sheep Guarding Llama updates for years. And eventually I went back and looked at them constantly. Like, it became a huge thing that I would always read them, and found it really useful, right? So I imagine that this will do the same in time. But it's a little bit harder because you can't really search on it quite the same, but that's getting better. But I think, I'll feel better knowing that the memories at least exist somewhere and are not completely lost. For example, tonight we were going through and Dominica found my model of a red Porsche 911 that sat on the shelf in my bedroom for most of my childhood. It was a gift from my grandmother, from Dad's mom, and it's funny because I let the kids play with it, and it's never been taken off of the base, which really shows what kind of kid I was. I didn't do imaginative play. I didn't like take toys and drive cars around and stuff. It's just not really a thing I did. I mean, I'm certainly when I was really little I must have, but it was not a thing that carried on. And so this model is still on the original mount, never having been removed. And Luciano was playing with it for a few minutes and realized that the seats moved. I had no idea. I knew the steering wheel worked and some other things, but I didn't know that the seats would lean forward and you could see into the trunk from that. So that's kind of interesting. But that's something that we're not keeping, right? It's a wonderful memory, and I wish I could keep all of that stuff, but realistically, it just does not make sense. I'm not going to put it on a shelf down there, and it means nothing to my kids, right? A thing from their great-grandmother to their father 40 years ago, probably not, but 32 years ago, probably. It's just, those are the kind of memories that have to go, and we're going through our books trying to figure out if there's any books we're keeping, which is tough because both Dominica and I are book collectors, and I've always kept books, and every book from my childhood is in perfect shape. But neither of our kids like to read, and it's not like I'm going to go back and read all those books again. It's just not going to happen. And so what are we going to do? Just store them just for the sake of storing them? For who? Right? It's sad, but what are we going to do? Right? We really do have to be selective with what we're keeping. And I talked to Alan a bit tonight, and he's starting the process of packing his place as well. So it is like a packing marathon within our ecosystem, and we'll find out that at least 2 more people are packing tomorrow when I'm actually recording this, because I time warp during these videos. So that was our Tuesday here. Decently productive day, and I did notice my Flickr feed for the day got just shy of 15,000 views for the day, so that was pretty busy as well. That's about it from here. I'll see everybody tomorrow.